Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR HALACHA. And here's a brand new HALACHA for you, and it's for Monday, 7th day of October, 8th day of Tishrei. A couple of more laws before Yom Kippur is upon us. One of them is that when you start Yom Kippur, we had taught you 2 days ago that you should begin the Inuyim a few minutes before sundown. Those are the things like not drinking, not anointing creams on yourself, etc. Well, you should also start the Yom Tov a few minutes early. It's not appropriate to start Yom Tov like exactly at the second of sundown. It's very appropriate to start it before. When you put on your talus, if you're a man putting on your talus for Kol Nidre, then you should make the bracha on your talus while it's still daytime before the sun goes down, because the bracha on tzitzis is appropriate only during daylight hours. So still try to make sure to put on your talus with a bracha before the sun goes down. As far as Muktza on Yom Kippur, Muktza laws are generally on Yom Kippur just like the way Muktza laws are on Shabbos. Okay, next law, I'm just kind of trying to get some that you may or may not know, or just some quickies that we have to know. When a person is guilty of eating on Yom Kippur, he's really only guilty biblically, from the full-fledged violation of the Torah law, only if he has a shiur, a full amount of eating. Now, that's like it has some Hebrew words to describe this year, but it's a small amount. So we won't go into the exact amount because all of you and I and all regular people aren't going to try to eat even a morsel on Yom Kippur. But when it starts to become very important is for a person who's ill. If there's a person who's ill who has to eat, what we try to tell that person is, look, there's a certain measure that's called eating, and if you ate that measure in a short span of time, you would be biblically guilty of eating on Yom Kippur. So if you're ill and you have to eat, try to eat under that shiur, under that requisite amount. So what that would mean is you would just let's say you're going to just have a sip of some sugared water or something to, give yourself your strength back. So you would, they actually sell these in Israel, or they give them out, little measured amounts of, I think it's sugary water or something like that in a little tube that's measured to be less than the requisite amount, which makes you guilty. And they give you perfect instructions that say, if you're ill and your doctor and your rabbi say that you should eat a little bit on Yom Kippur, have a sip of this tube, and then wait a certain number of minutes and then have another sip of the next tube. And that way you'll be giving yourself the small bit of nutrition that you need to make it through Yom Kippur, but you won't be doing it so closely tied together that it's considered like you violated Yom Kippur biblically. You're only violating minor amounts, the bare minimum, so that you could nourish yourself if your doctor and rabbi say you have to, without biblically violating eating on Yom Kippur. Anyway, these laws are complicated, and I said that kind of quickly. If you know that you might have to eat on Yom Kippur because of an illness, please, please, please discuss this with your rabbi and your doctor before Yom Kippur so you don't have any emergency situations where you won't know what to do. And they'll give you perfect guidelines as to, okay, here's what you're going to do. If you feel dizzy, you do this. And if you feel faint, you do that. And if and you'll have an exact list of what you do if you feel this or if you feel that, and how much you'll intake to make yourself not be dangerously ill. Okay, we also don't wash ourselves on Yom Kippur, so you're not even allowed to dip a finger into water. The only thing we do, of course, is the Netilas Yadayim that we have to do. We only do them up to our knuckles, and that's it, because we're not allowed to wash our full hand. If there's a soiled spot on you, something got on you that's disgusting that you need to get off, you could just rinse off that spot, and that's it. And we don't wear leather shoes on Yom Kippur. And if you're going to wear a nice, expensive pair of sneakers, you better check that those expensive sneakers don't have any leather in them, because you're not supposed to wear sneakers that have leather in them either. So one way to know that your shoes don't have leather in them is if they're really cheap. Then they're probably cheap because they don't have any authentic leather in them. But if you're in any doubt, please check with someone who would know this and say, is there any leather in these shoes anywhere, in the upper, in the sole, in the whatever? Check that carefully and know that there's no leather in your shoe, because you're not allowed to wear a shoe with any leather in it on the holy day of Yom Kippur. Thanks for logging on, and log on again tomorrow for more laws.